So here's a yard sale find. It's a All-American 921 and a half pressure cooker, pressure canner. I got this for 10 bucks at a yard sale. And any of you that do any canning know that these things go for, well over a couple $100, especially, as you get to the bigger sizes and stuff. So inside here, it's even better. This thing I don't think was ever used. It's basically got all of the stuff. You got your, let's get this out of the way. You've got your, your original, I don't know what you would call that, like a warning. Your original cooking and canning book. And then in here you got your trays that go in the bottom, and they're all still all wrapped up and new. So that's actually pretty cool. So the only problems with this is, one, it has this sort of petcock. I'm not sure off the top of my head what this valve is called, but it has this. It has a lead overpressure plug, and it has the gauge. Now, the gauge, these gauges are either supposed to be calibrated or they're supposed to be replaced. I don't remember which one. I heard that they're supposed to be replaced, and if you go to the pressure cooker outlet where they sell the All-American parts, you can see you can buy these in, like batches of 10 or 20 of them, and I guess you're supposed to replace them every year and or have them calibrated. I don't think anybody's going to calibrate these things anymore, so you're just probably going to have to just get them replaced. So the problem is that this thing, I know they still use valves like this for things, but for canning, everything has been upgraded. I think these are good for up to like 28 pounds, 28 to 30 pounds, something like that. But they're no good for canning anymore, because when you use these, you're basically reading off of the meter, this gauge, and you're regulating your stuff based on the temperature so that this thing doesn't pop. So you're gauging your pressure to keep it under where this thing will blow. So what I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna replace this, and I had plans to replace this, but I'll go over that once I get to it. So what I'm gonna replace this with, and you can see I have all my parts here. This is the vent pipe. That goes in replacement of that, and then this is your weight, and then here is your overpressure plug. This total, and I'm not sponsored by anybody, nobody sent me any free parts, anything like that. The total here was, I think, about 38 bucks. I think this is about 10. This was the most expensive. This was like 19 bucks. This was like 5 bucks and then shipping. So I don't know if that works out to the amount I said, but that's what it is. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna replace this petcock with the vent pipe and the weight, and then we'll get into what we're gonna do here later on. So to replace this petcock, you need an 11/16 wrench. And I've already pre-loosened it, but you're just gonna basically put your 11/16 on there, and you're just gonna take this off. That's pretty much all you have to do. Then this comes off. Now, you're gonna wanna save this, and I'm gonna explain why later. So, according to the manufacturer, when you put this vent pipe in, you can either put it in with or without any of this Teflon tape. Now, my experience with these is that the seals work really well, and that I imagine that this being aluminum, it'll just, you know, it'll just expand right up onto here. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put some tape on this and put it on. Now you remember, this is going clockwise. So you want to put your tape on the opposite way so that when you screw this pipe in, you're not going to, you know, unravel the tape as it goes in. So just a couple of wraps. That's all you need right there. And then you're going to want to just put this in and let it thread. Make sure you never want to try to ratchet anything in before you know that it's threaded properly. So there you go. Now for that part of this, you're going to need a 7/16. Now you're going to want to, you know, bring this down relatively tight. Now you're going to have threads exposed, so you don't want to try to crank this thing all the way down in there until there are no threads exposed. So that's probably pretty good right there. And then you can see you can just drop your weight on there and, you know, you're good to go. Now, as far as this overpressure valve or plug is concerned, this one, you can see how that's in there. It's screwed in, and so it's not really machined. This was before they made them with these plugs. You can't upgrade this lead plug to this plug. So unfortunately, if you have this lid, you're really only left with like two choices. Well, three, I guess. The first one is, as long as this plug is good, you can just leave it in there. You don't need to take it out. They're good to, you know, whatever the recommended pressure is. I think it's 24 pounds or something like that, or more. If this plug isn't any good anymore and you saved this will thread right in there. And these are good for 28 pounds before this pops open. So you can replace it with this. If you don't have one of these and this plug goes bad, well, you're out of luck. You're gonna have to order a new lid. Now, a new lid is about $100, but you can use all of your existing parts from your new lid, or from your old lid. You can save all of your little bits and pieces and put them onto your new lid. So for $100, you know, you just replace all of this stuff and you're good to go. If you have the newer lid, obviously you can just buy another one of these plugs for $4 or $5. So there you have it. That's what you have to do to upgrade your an older All-American pressure cooker / canner. I will give you the link in the description, but I believe it's pressurecookeroutlet.com or whatever. I will put it here and in the description, and you guys can order your parts. But for $10 plus 40, you're sitting on a couple $100 worth of savings. So anyway, thanks for watching.